GM, everyone.
GM.
And Today we will have a workshop on mini apps on Celo to kick off the mini app hackathon organized by Celo South Africa now, and I have Blessing here to tell you all about it. Welcome, Blessing. So great to have you as always.
GM.
Very excited for
Awesome.
this hackathon. I think it fits perfectly with Celo going live on Farcaster in the last week. There's like so many campaigns. We already have a few mini apps. It's very exciting. So I think it's so cool, and it's a perfect framework and context for everybody to build more mini apps on Celo for Farcaster. Um, I think the goal for this hackathon is mainly games. So we also have an amazing guest that I will bring on stage in a few minutes, who built the most successful game on Farcaster. So very excited to have him
Amazing.
here to share some insights, some great advice, and also present a little starter kit for all of you to kick off your journey in building mini apps on Celo. Also, this is not only for people living in Africa. Everybody can take part in this hackathon. It's just organized by Celo South Africa now, but for the whole community. And yeah, let me just like get the slides on stage to share so like a little bit more information for everyone. We will also share the link where you can sign up for the hackathon. But here's the QR code, so you can just scan that. Um, for the hackathon, it starts today and it will run till the 23rd of May. The price pool is 1,500 CUSD, but obviously you will be eligible to like more Celo ecosystem rewards through Farcast and other contests, and we will share that with you also later and like during this hackathon. Building for Celo always means like we have a lot of different reward streams, so very excited to onboard new builders. And
Amazing.
also to welcome all our existing builders to this hackathon. And just like a little bit about the agenda, I'm just seeing there's like a little bit missing on, but we have the kickoff today. We will have a weekly milestone check-in. We kind of suggest a little roadmap of how to get started. This is mainly for people for who this is like the first time building a mini app or like participating in a hackathon, to provide you with a roadmap. Obviously, feel free to like build everything in a week and then extend and test. And we also invite you to like already go live on podcast, like get feedback and test, and we will share more about how that would work. We have a Telegram group where you can where we have some mentors. We have Gabe from the community. He built a mini app that already has onboarded more than 1,000 people in the last week on Farcaster. And Carol, who already also has a live mini app on Farcaster. So they have experience, they can help you, they can guide you. I will, after this call, I will also like add all the information that we're sharing here and the link to this recording in the Telegram chat and like pin it, so you always have access to all of these resources. And we're not here yet. So now, Blessing. I'd
Yes.
love for you to like just maybe share the hackathon page and explain the whole framework that you were thinking about, and like explain more about the hackathon to everybody here today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lina. Is always I'm always happy to be in a call with you. So I'm really excited to be here with all of you today, and thank you for joining those who are joining across the countries and everything. And thank you for showing up and for being curious and for choosing to build. This hackathon is more than just a competition, it's an opportunity for you guys to explore the space of decentralized social apps and build on Celo with Farcaster and seeing real innovation in apps whereby people interact with mini apps and incentives. So basically on the Hackers DAO page, if you go to, let me just quickly go back, you will see the Celo Farcaster quiz game. And on this page, you basically see all the details about this challenge, the prize pools, how it is divided, and basically in the various domains you'll be working in, like building game logic and backend, and building smart contracts that makes people earn rewards. And also you see the minimum requirements for your submission. So basically we want you to build a Farcaster mini app, which is basically interactive, and also build smart contracts on the Celo blockchain. And with that, we need a hosted link that we can also interact with, and your GitHub repo has to be public. So basically here you can find the various steps as well. And so it's today you guys joined the kickoff. So we basically did the first step. And then the second step will basically be to watch the video on various mini apps built on Celo. And you can download Farcaster, and you need to actually give us your Farcaster ID and read the documentation. We have very good documentation on Farcaster that you can also check out. And then you go to our monorepo on the Celo GitHub, where you can find various frames and various documentation and projects that you can also look into, and also documentation on how to build on Celo. And then you have a space where you can actually publish your live link to your mini app. And we'll need a video demo of your quiz app as well. And then by the end, on step 9, we'll basically need you to sign a Google form, because we need to collect the repos that you have. And then after you've completed all the steps, you basically check the checklist and you can submit your hackathon. So in a nutshell, this is basically all the information and all the steps broken down for you in terms of how you can be successful within this hackathon. And just a final thought from me, it's not about perfection. It's about being able to execute and being creative, and also collaboration. So don't be afraid to experiment and to also ask for help in the Telegram group. And most importantly, you should have fun building something new. Thank you so much, Lina. I think this is, yeah, I'm very excited.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So just to summarize, the requirements like your submissions are to have a mini app live on Farcaster and a demo video, right? And the mini app should have on-chain interactions. We will definitely publish this to ping you about that throughout the hackathon. But that is the main goal. Another thing is if you are not yet on Farcaster, you will need to get an invite. So make sure to reach out in the group to us, and we will share an invite link with you. Yeah. So again, this is our Telegram. The link to the Telegram group. Make sure to join. This will be our main channel of communication. So any kind of update, any kind of check-ins, we will also send that per email, I think. But please make sure you, for the duration of the hackathon, just kind of pin that Telegram group on top, so you just don't miss any updates, see any questions. And the main thing for a hackathon is always just ask questions. Don't try to not get stuck. When you feel like you're getting blocked, just share where you're getting blocked, and we have an amazing community that can help you to get unblocked. Don't get demotivated or drop out. Farcaster is a bit of a different social media, and it can be a bit overwhelming, but it's so much fun once you get your hang of it and get around it. And I love it more than I really love it. So it's gonna be really cool. Um, and now I want to introduce Limona. Wait, thank you for listening so much. I will
So
bring you on the end.
see.
Thank you. Hi, Limona. Very, very honored to have you here today. Limona is like a top Farcaster builder, I think, constantly. And just like, I think in general, very impressive what you've been doing in the community with like creating a community hub in Rome and organizing each Rome conference and building and promoting Farcaster and helping all of the communities to understand Farcaster and yeah, just as like being an inspiration and also developing the coolest game on Farcast that made me really addicted for like some time. So definitely so cool to have you here today and join us.
Thank you so
And
much.
let me yeah, I will give you the stage. What we're gonna do is like just like talk a bit about your experience of building on Farcast, and then you also prepared like a little demo about for us and like some more information, right?
Yeah,
Welcome.
yeah. Thank you so much for the intro, and thank you so much for inviting me. Congrats also to Blessing for the awesome initiative. I really loved how like this challenge was, like shaped out, and I'm sure like would be like super useful for developers to kickstart their journey on building like Farcaster mini apps. I just share my screen, Lina, so that we can go through a brief presentation that I prepared. All right. Cool. Can you see it? Can you see my screen? Amazing. So building forecaster mini apps. So like this presentation, it's like very, very short, but I wanted to, just give you some reasons why I'm so excited about Farcaster mini apps. What's the opportunity? And also like showcasing some examples that are out there. So let's get into it. So about me, again, like I'm a software engineer, serial hacker. I've been on Farcaster for almost 3 years now, building frames, now mini apps. I even tried building a Farcaster client back in the days. I'm also a community builder. So here in Rome, we have a community called Urbe.it. We organize it Rome. We have a permanent space, which is actually where I'm having the call right now. So we have a Web3 app here in Rome. And I'm also a co-founder of Builder's Garden, which is this consumer crypto product studio where we build applications and specifically for Farcaster mini apps. And Farville, as Lina was mentioning, is probably our most famous one, and later I'll show you. But let's get into it. So first of all, some context, like what are mini apps? I'm sure you're all familiar with Facebook games or even like Twitter apps that in 2010 were very popular. You might remember Farmville, Zynga Poker, Pet Society, games like going viral and actually making ton of money. And the same goes for Twitter apps that maybe are less popular, but at the same time, they were, like there were so many tools that you could use on top of like the Twitter API that now are unfortunately like shut down, because the problem with these ecosystems back in the days is that they are centralized social network. And at some point, they were afraid that these games or third-party apps were taking too much space, too much revenue, too much attention from their platform. And so what happened is that both Facebook and Twitter, now Meta and X, they decided to close down the API, add rate limitations, increase costs. And so like they made the developer life much harder. And that's why like nowadays, these mini apps inside like Facebook or Twitter, they are not anymore a thing. There's nothing less there. With Farcaster is different because there's no platform risk. Farcaster is an open and decentralized social network, so like nobody can prevent you in accessing the network and the data and the social graph, and that's the coolest thing because you can build similar experiences to these ones that were very successful in the past, but there's no risk in which like Farcaster is shutting down your API because again, it's all stored on a decentralized and distributed system. Why I'm so excited about Mini Apps? So what's the opportunity and why they were also successful in Facebook and Twitter? The main reason is around distribution. So the hardest part of building something in the digital space, but I'd say even, like in real life, it's about distribution. Like software engineers, even me, myself, like we tend to overcomplicate or overestimate technical part of a product. So using this SDK, this toolkit, implementing this cool use case, whatever. But the most important thing is finding users. We need to find users that are actually interested in whatever we are building, and mini apps built inside these ecosystems allow you to access users in a much easier way. The other thing is that since you have users, you also have faster feedback loops, faster progress. And so mini apps in general, I feel like they should be very simple, lightweight, quick to ship, and you need to iterate fast. And thanks to these users that are, trying your mini app on a daily basis, maybe, it's easier for you to iterate on their feedback, fix issues, fix bugs, and create a product that is more solid, let's say. Why mini app on Farcaster then? So again,
I just want to say, sorry.
Yeah.
I love that you're saying that. I like this morning. I just read a thread by Emily from Scroll, and she wrote exactly what you're saying. And I think that's also something we've been trying with our internal programs, like proof of ship. People tend to build too long on something that never goes live, and they don't get feedback. And I agree with you. That's why I love Farcaster, because you get users who get distribution. And what Emily wrote is first-time founders, they care about the product, and second-time founders, they care about distribution. Because in the end, you can build whatever. The thing that you think is the greatest, if nobody's going to use it, you wasted kind of your time, So starting off exactly like you say with the most simple product, and then slowly iterating and adding features and everything, and then also getting feedback from your community on what works and what doesn't. And I think you do that with Farvel so amazingly. I think that's the perfect way, and Farcaster really is the perfect platform for that.
Yeah, let's get into it. So why Farcaster? So mini apps, wherever you're building them, it could be Telegram, it could be WorkCoin, it could be even on MiniPay, I guess, you have some sort of mini apps. Distribution is the main thing. Why Farcaster to me is very interesting, because first of all, all the APIs are open and permissionless by design. There's no API keys, there's no gatekeepers. You can just build in a permissionless fashion. Of course, there are some services that you can use and to facilitate development, and those will come with some API keys, but it's always possible for you to run a node and read data and write data on your own. Farcaster is first of all a social network, so you have a rich and open social graph, and this means that users that are using your mini app can be easily using their social reputation. These mini apps can be embedded in the social feed, and so the engagement can be really supercharged. Every user on Farcaster is on-chain ready, because nowadays Farcaster and soon also Coinbase Wallet will become a Farcaster client. They will both have, all the users on Farcaster have an Ethereum wallet by default. And this means that you can interact with any possible chains, including Celo, of course. And so prompting users to execute on-chain actions, it's much easier with respect to, asking them to go on your website, connect the wallet, and then sign this message, whatever, and then execute. And finally, Farcaster is super interesting to me because even if the community is kind of small, in the sense that there's around 50,000 daily active users, which is like small compared to, first of all, the old Facebook days where we were counting millions of daily active users, but also compared to other ecosystems. I mean, I mentioned already like Telegram, Workcoin, like where there's many more users. Farcaster users are very engaged, very influential. Their wallet are funded. I think like Varun yesterday shared, Varun, one of the co-founder of Farcaster, shared a data insight that on an average, every Farcaster user is executing an on-chain action every 2 seconds. So it's they are very active and can be very engaged with whatever you're building. What I'm talking about, so we've been talking about distribution. I say that even like, the Farcaster community is kind of small, but Farville, which is definitely our flagship mini app out there, it's getting a lot of attention. So this is some analytics that a screenshot that I picked today. In the last 28 days, we had 12,000 active users, so monthly active users that opened the mini app.
Are you sharing your screen right now, or are you just sharing that information? Because I don't see your screen here.
You don't see my screen anymore?
No. It disappeared at one point.
Sorry. It's weird. Yeah, can you pick it up again? It's in the, yes. So yeah, I had like this slide describing why Farcaster mini apps, but I already said that. And then I was showcasing some analytics from Farville. Can you see that now?
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, this has been taken like this morning, and in the last month we had 4.7 million opens. And if you do the math, it's around a user opening it up like 10 times a day. So there's a real opportunity. There's a bunch of Farcaster mini apps. These are some of like the most popular ones. You can have games, you can have productivity tools, you can have trading tools, NFT minting experiences, polls, and I can actually show some of you. So if you go on Farcaster XYZ, assuming you have an account, of course, and there's this tab, mini apps. You also have these on your mobile application. You can save mini apps, much like you save and install apps on your, I don't know, device, like mobile device, whether it's Android or iPhone. So there's Farville, for example, it's our game, and it's, of course, like very inspired to Farmville. So you have your carrots, you plant the carrots, you harvest carrots, you have daily quests that you can play. So I had 5 carrot seeds, and let's get it. So you have some tasks to do daily. As you can see, there's a leaderboard where all these users are Farcaster users. So I'm pulling on like the Farcaster username, their profile picture, and a bunch of other stuff. You can sell, buy seeds, sell crops, whatever. You have, for example, there's another one that I wanted to show. That's Farcade, is another fun like gaming mini app. Ponder is super interesting. It's sort of like prediction markets where people run these polls and you can vote on some of them. So yeah, what's happening in here? Onboarding, I guess. So people are running like questions, and you can vote with the USDC. And if you pick like the right one, like the most voted option, you also win. You have bracket, which is instead on the sports betting side of things, where you can bet on sport events, and a bunch of others. Like Tab, for example, is a payment mini app where you can split the bill with your friends. So you can create a new group bill with your Farcaster friends, and you split, I don't know, when you go out for dinner at a restaurant, whatever. So there's a bunch of them, and you can save them, or you can also look in the top mini app. Another cool thing that I wanted to show is this developer reward. So whenever you are shipping a mini app and it's live, the Farcaster team is rewarding you on a weekly basis. So if your Farcaster mini app is executing transactions as many users, so there's an algorithm that is scoring the mini apps with different parameters, and they are actually distributing $3,000 every week among the top 50 mini apps. So this is also a good opportunity. Another thing before getting into the starter kit, I wanted to show how why a mini app is very powerful for distribution. So Farville, for example, people can ask for seeds in the feed. So let's say I need to complete a quest and I need to plant some lettuce seeds. You can share the mini app link in the feed, and this is showing like this. So if I click on here on donate, this is opening up as a mini app. And yeah, somebody already donated, by the way. But the cool thing is that people can simply scroll the feed and share stuff. And if I see a mini app, I can interact directly with it. I don't need to go on an external website. I just scrolling and interacting with the mini app, and that's why it's much easier to engage with users. And so, like, I even wrote an article that I will share in the chat later about how to build viral mini apps. So there's some, the importance of social components, the importance of creating shareable moments, and I can show you how people are actually. Oops, this is wrong. How people are actually sharing something on Farcaster. So I'm on Farville. Let's see. Yeah, I have this quest. Receive 8 lettuce seed. I can click request, create request. When I click share, this opens a new tab with pre-composed cast and the mini app preview. So I'm posting it on the feed. And if I go on my profile, and if you go on my profile, actually, you can donate me lettuce seed. And this is why, like, it's super powerful. And so, like, this article is actually walking you through some small acts that we use to make Farville viral, how we reached, like, so many users. So rewards, viral loops, notifications. Notifications is another, like, important thing, because, yeah, you see, like, Farcade, for example, they just notified me about a new game. So whenever somebody adds your mini app in the list, so whenever they save it, the developer can notify you. So, for example, when it comes to Farville, yeah, so many notifications, but when it comes to Farville, like, you should be able to receive a notification whenever something happens. So yeah, Togo just donated me 8 lettuce seeds. So notifications are also something very powerful that I receive it, I click here, and I'm in the mini app. So there's a bunch of tools that you can use to drag users inside your mini app experience. Then, Lena, I guess if you don't have anything to add, I will move to the starter kits. What do you think?
No, I think this was an amazing explanation. We just got like really nice comments in the chat of people saying nobody has ever explained them Farcaster in such a good way. So and then they are really looking forward, like that they understand they have to up their game and change it a little bit. I appreciate that so much because I've been trying to explain why I love Farcaster, but I wasn't able to do it in such a good way. So thank you so much. I think one thing that I want to add, because I know there's like some people who are very new to Farcaster and like maybe also like still a bit new to Web3 development. If we talk and I used a lot of terms that might be like a bit too much or like you don't understand yet, Farcaster, I would really suggest to spending like 2-3 hours on Farcaster, exploring the apps, reading the article that we just pinned here, and then understanding the flow of Farcaster and then the whole incentive structure, and then it will make more sense. It just takes some time. It's a new approach, but it shouldn't like scare you off. But like it actually like enabled so many new opportunities and should be very exciting for you. Don't feel like that is too much. We all felt overwhelmed, but like I think it's like something that I really like about Farcaster. So you can enter and like not know anything, and you can say, I'm new here, what's going on? And so many people will come and help you and try to guide you. And it's a very, very friendly space. And yeah, just saying, like, don't feel if this video, you can like always rewatch it. You can take your time to explore it. I would really suggest before you start building, if you're new to Farcaster, to just like do some research and find your own way. And but it's also a very amazing tool to be onboarded to Web3 technology and like in general, like how applications in Web3 work. So if you're new to Web3, this is a great starting point. Oshadi, she also built one of our builder rewards applications. Also just started, I think 1, 2, 3, a few months ago, and it's now already like amazing in building applications and understanding Web3. So just a very good starting point as well for you if you're new to Web3. And now, Nivana, please feel free to continue. Thank you.
Amazing. So first of all, I guess like this link is already like public in the challenge that Blessing showed, but just in case, you know, like you have docs.farcaster.xyz, where you can find all the documentation that you might need to build a mini app. There's a getting started, a guide in getting started. So really useful to get started indeed. There's some guides on things that you need to do to make sure that your mini app is actually loading on Farcaster, how you can prompt people to share your mini app, how you can publish it, how you can authenticate users, send notifications. So everything that you need is definitely like on this documentation. And then I built this Farcaster mini app starter on Celo. So this is a Next.js starter kit that you can use to bootstrap your project. Let's get into it. So assuming you are familiar with React and Next.js, we have these traditional folder structure. Because in the end, like a mini app is a web app. It's a web app that is rendering inside this container here as a mobile first experience. So if you have a web app that is already live and it's already mobile responsive, it's very easy to convert it to be compatible and usable within a Farcaster mini app. And there's a few things to do. So under the application folder, of course, we have all the code of the the pages and some APIs as well. Components, of course, like providers, some stuff. We have some context to initialize the mini app experience. Hooks that I'm using to send in the user and interact with the API, and then some libraries that utilities, let's say, for notifications and other stuff. The first thing that we need to look for is like the starting page. To have the Farcaster client recognize that your web app can be accessible as a mini app, you need to add a special metadata. This metadata is going under, we have the title, we have the usual Open Graph metadata standard here, and then you have another field where you have to put this FC frame. And this FC frame needs to specify a version, which is a standard, an image URL to show as a preview for the mini app, a button with the title, and then an action to prompt. Like this action is actually pointing to my app URL. So let me show you also how to debug a mini app before getting into it. So if you go under developers, preview tools, you can paste a URL here. So it cannot be localhost, unfortunately. So if you are not already like deployed on Vercel or any other service, you can use ngrok, which is a tunneling service. So this is exposing my localhost environment, and it's showcasing my mini app. So whenever I click in here, this is opening my mini app. If I go back on developers, let's move to the embed tool so that you can see how the embed is showing. Oh yeah, I guess like the image is not showing. I can show you on frames.js. Give me a second. That's it. So for debugger, I didn't want to use this debugger because I realized that frames.js is not, for some reason, is not supporting Celo in here. I'm not sure why. But as you can see here, there's an image and there's a button, launch app. If I modify this, we can say launch app on Celo. And I click debug again under, in this case, like frames.js is running on localhost. Launch app on Celo. The image is coming from the app URL images feed. So this is on public images feed. It's picking the images from here. So there's some metadata that you need to specify to render the mini app in the feed correctly. I guess that maybe let me try doing one thing. What if I go on Farcaster XYZ? Let's see if this cast is oh yeah, no, because I don't have the manifest. Yeah, that's another important thing about declaring a Farcaster mini app is the manifest. As you can see here under well-known Farcaster JSON, there's a Farcaster manifest. So this is returning a manifest that is respecting a specific, let me see if I can find it here. There's like all the specifications of like metadata that you need to show. Let me show you directly here on the code. So the manifest is actually declaring your mini app in two ways. The first thing is declaring the account association. Account association is what defining who is the creator of the mini app, which is important for reputation reasons. So whenever I open Farville, for example, you can see here Builder's Garden. So because it's us that we created it. And actually on mobile, you can even click on Builder's Garden and it brings you to the profile. So the account association allows you to create and define who is the owner and the actually deployer of the mini app. Under frame, instead, you have all these metadata. You have the mini app name, the icon URL, the home URL, the image that you want to show as a preview. You can even define a splash image URL. So whenever the mini app is loading before starting, you can show a specific logo. In my case, I added this image. So it's very, very simple. There's a webhook URL, and this webhook URL will be called by the Farcaster client to notify you about important client events, like whenever somebody adds or saves the mini app, or whenever somebody enables or disables notifications. And then there's some, much like whenever you deploy or release an app on the Apple Store and you need to define the description, the category, the tags, the screenshots, this is the same thing. So to help for mini app discovery, now the Farcaster JSON file has to include all these metadata so that it's easier to discover your mini app. How does it happen? So again, we have the page with this metadata, we have the manifest, and you can also debug the manifest with this tool here. So if I go on farville.farm, for example, you can check how the manifest is working. So this is fetching the manifest from Farville. It shows the mini app preview on the list. It shows the preview on the feed, so the image, the button, and then you can also see here all the metadata that we have. There's some screenshots, there's the description, everything that I just showed you. And so whenever you are declaring the manifest, you can use this tool to debug whatever error you have. So if I get this one, I'm assuming there will be some errors. Oh, actually, it's just the preview not showing. You can see the name, it's mini app starter local. It has the logo, and all the properties that I showed you are here. The primary category is social. The description is starter kit for mini apps. This is very important step to take. How to generate a manifest. So you need your Farcaster mobile wallet. Let me see. Maybe I can share. Let me see if I can share my mobile. Yeah. Lena, can you let me know if you can see my mobile phone screen now?
I just added your mobile.
Okay, perfect. So this is my mobile phone. You go on settings, advanced, and you enable developer mode here. Once it's enabled, you will see this developer tab. Developer tab is useful to debug mini apps on your mobile phone. So first of all, you can add here a mini app URL. Let's add again. Let's add again farville.farm. So if I click farville.farm, this is opening the mini app. I can also modify the splash image URL. I can modify the splash background color. You will see it's black now instead of white. Yeah. You can also preview an embed. So this is showing an embed for another website I built as a mini app. How to generate the manifest? You go here, you type your domain name. So it can be farville.farm, it can be your ngrok domain, and you just have to click farville.farm, generate manifest. Let me go under notes. And you can see this is pasting the account association. So this is what's authenticating the mini app as created by limone.it, and then it's creating also some template for the metadata. So this step is very important to take. Let's move back to the starter kit. Once you have the manifest, you're ready to go. So again, you have the page. The page is opening up like this application, which is rendering the home component. The home component is doing a bunch of stuff. Oh, actually, before getting into that, there's a provider. This provider is very important. Mini app provider is actually instantiating the mini app context. So if I go inside the mini app provider, you will see that there's a bunch of function that I'm calling to set, first of all, the mini app is ready. So whenever I want the client to load the mini app, so moving from the splash screen to actually the mini app screen, we need to call SDK actions ready. And this is coming from the Farcaster frame SDK. Okay, so this SDK contains a bunch of functions. You can see all of them here. Actions. You have a function to add a mini app, to close a mini app. You have one to compose a cast, sign in, setting the mini app as ready. So you have all these functions are documented here. And this is very important because if you don't call this function, the mini app is never showing. So let's comment this one. Go back on here. Open URL as a mini app. Yeah, this is actually not opening. Let's go back to here. Let me get perfect. You see, nothing is loading here. Let's hope it loads whenever I uncomment this. I was testing this morning, but you never know. Yes, I uncommented it, and it's now showing the whole flow. Another thing is adding that I'm doing here is adding the frame. So prompting the user to enable and save the frame, the mini app actually. So this is important. There's another provider that is the one that is actually instantiating WAGMI. So you will see here there's a frame wallet provider where I'm instantiating a WAGMI config. So you can use WAGMI in any possible way that you know. It's connected to Celo in this case, and you just need to use this mini app connector. The mini app connector is coming from Farcaster frame WAGMI connector, and this is what's allowing you to connect the WAGMI context to the Farcaster mini app wallet for the user. So this is just to set up the whole thing. And then what happens? I'm in the home page, and I have this hook made to sign in the user. First of all, I have this function here that is returning the mini app context. The mini app context is very useful. I can show you what's containing. So let me go on inspection console. This is the mini app context. So the context contains like the client data. So the client FID, which is the ID of the Farcaster client. Notification details is showing me if it's containing the data of like the user notification details that I can use to notify the user if they enable it. In this case, I didn't enable them, so I'm not seeing them. And then added. Added is a useful flag to check if your user already added the mini app. Then in the context, Oh, nice. They included some useful context here. I didn't check the updated version, but last time I checked, you only have the feed FID, so my user ID, but you also have a username, profile picture, and display name. So this is very useful because you don't need your users to sign in, whatever. You already have the user data from the context. Okay. Anyways, what I'm doing in this sign in hook, I'm authenticating the user to interact with my API. So there's this function handle sign in, and this is calling the SDK action sign in. This is sign in with Farcaster. So it's actually asking the user to sign a message with their Farcaster account. And once it's signed, it's propagating this message to the API. The API has a sign in route, which is getting the FID, the signed message, the address, and the message. So I'm verifying that the message is right. Standard, sign in with Ethereum, but it's with a Farcaster account instead. And if everything is valid, I'm creating a JSON Web Token. And this JSON Web Token you can use to authenticate further or subsequent API calls, So you will have this out token useful. And this is like how to actually sign in the user and show their data as well. This is my connected wallet. And then this starter kit is very simple. So there's a simple button that you can use to test that the authentication is right. So that this test button is calling another route, and it's checking if the out token, so the one that we already generated, is there. So in this case, it's there. So the authentication is flowing. Another cool thing that I implemented in here, let me go back to the, where is it? To the home. Yeah, there's auto sign in through. So one of the hardest part in the UX of any decentralized application is that the user need to click a button to connect their wallet and then sign a message on their wallet model. And this is, of course, adding friction. Within a Farcaster mini app, this is never happening. So if I refresh the screen, I don't need to click anything. I'm already connected because I'm already inside the Farcaster client. They can read my wallet, they can read my account. So the onboarding experience is frictionless. And this is another powerful thing about Farcaster mini apps. There's one last thing that I wanted to show you. Actually, two things. So first of all, you can use WAGMI. So to show the address, I was simply, using use account from WAGMI, and you can pick the address. You can read smart contracts. You can write to smart contracts. So you can do like a bunch of stuff. Another important thing is this webhook for notification. So this webhook is an endpoint of the API that is being called by the Farcaster client. So the Farcaster, like this webhook, is actually verifying that the API call is coming from a Farcaster client, and this is sending me a bunch of events: frame added, frame removed, notifications enabled, notifications disabled. So every time a frame is being added, mini app is being added, I'm taking some action. So I'm saving the user notification details. That's a simple Redis database for this use case here, but you can use Postgres or MongoDB, like whatever database you want to store this data. And then you have a method to send a frame notification. So you said, I want to send a notification to this FID with this title and this body. And this is how you can send notification to the user. So the webhook is very important to catch these notification details and then subsequently send notifications to your users. One last thing before moving to questions and answers is how, and I believe this is very important, how to build dynamic previews. So in this debugger, you can see this is a static image. It's coming from the public assets that I have. But I also created a dynamic example. So if I go on this page, dynamic image example, and you can add a random number. you can see that I'm generating a custom preview image. Okay. And this is very useful because you can have custom pages. So for Farville, for example, let me go back. This is not needed. For Farville, yeah, let's say Farville, let me see if I recall it. Request. Yeah, no, this is not the right request probably. But basically you can have, okay, this is working. That's some cache, yeah. So this URL is rendering a custom image, and in this repo I'm showing you how to do it. You have a page. This page is exporting a custom metadata. So this is title of the button. In this case is dynamic image example. You can see that you can modify the button text. Okay. And then the image, instead of being a static path that is pointing to public images, it's pointing to an API to generate an open graph image. So if I go to the API, OG, there's this route expecting a get HTTP call and preparing an image response with some HTML code. I'm loading an image for the logo. I'm loading a custom font. I'm setting HTML code with the image, with the text. So I can even edit this text. Yeah, it takes a while to, yeah. So you can see how it can be like dynamic, and you can customize with simple HTML and CSS code. And funny enough, like if you go on localhost API OG, this is always returning the image. Okay. So by copying this code, adapting it to your use case, you can now, create a custom preview for your mini app that is even dynamic. So in this case, I'm simply fetching the ID parameter here, but you can possibly add here, I don't know, get user info from database, fetch record score for user. You can do a bunch of stuff. This is server-side code that you can use to generate custom requests and custom previews, much like we do on Farville. So on Farville, people are sharing about requests. So this is fetching data from a database and an API. This is fetching, so this is even more custom because it's showcasing an achievement that the user has made, and it's even like showing what other active farmers are on the app. This is even, like you can be like very creative. So very useful. And if you read this article, how to build viral mini apps, you'll understand why it's so important to have these custom previews. That said, like this Farcaster mini app is again under Builder's Garden, Farcaster mini app starter Celo. It's open source. There's also a README describing how. So if you missed anything, if you don't know what's ngrok, how to open a local tunnel, how to get and generate the Farcaster manifest, everything that I just described you, it's documented here. You have the pointers to this documentation as well. And of course, like you can always reach out to me on Farcaster. I'm limone.it. This is my handle. So just text me and I'll be happy to support. If there's any question, Lena, happy to answer. Otherwise, thank you.
We can start off by cute comments from the audience. Jefferson says, TNGM, some of my favorite people swimming together. Limon without the head. Yeah.
Without
I was
that,
wondering.
yeah.
I almost didn't recognize him.
Next time I will use it.
Okay, very good. I think this is amazing. This was really extensive, and I think you finished off well. That would have been my question. Like now you walked through everything. Like how does somebody who just is getting started get started best without feeling overwhelmed? But I think in the end, what you also showed is like this is everything you need to know, but it's like you can start slow, but it's like setting it up, registering it. I think what we're trying to do is the milestones is like guide you through it a little bit, and then you can also later add all of the features. You don't have to already complete everything that was just shown. It's just like the options and how far you get. But I think what is like where would you tell somebody like how to like set up the most simple if they would how to where's the most simple starting point? What would be like how would you advise somebody to like get started, and what are like the next steps?
Yeah, I guess like the readme that I was showing, it's actually walking you through the basic steps. So luckily for all of you, like what you need in the repo, what you need like to build a mini app is already built in that repo. So you don't need to, if you use this repo, you don't need to bother about setting up a mechanism for notification, setting up the code to handle the manifest. The manifest, in my opinion, is one of the hardest part in the developer journey. It's documented in the README, and what you need to do is simply you don't need to figure out where to place the data. You just need to replace, because we already organized it in a way that it's easier. But I guess that this is the minimal implementation that I would use to, like maybe notifications, of course, like you can skip them. They are not like needed to have a mini app working, but everything else, like setting the mini app as ready, is crucial. Prompting the user to save the mini app also, it's important. And they are already implemented. So of course, like if you want to do something like more custom, you need to go through the README and understand why we made like these decisions. But overall, like the basic stack, it's there. It's just about replacing with your environment variables and following up with your metadata and everything.
I think this is so helpful. And yeah, very excited to see all the mini apps. Thank you so much for providing all of this explanation and starter kit. If you, I would suggest to everybody you can. We already pinned a message with the link to the recording for this and all of the links that Limona shared. So just make sure you like rewatch the video until you set up your mini app, and then you can focus on the code. Make sure it works, and then you can like implement slowly like your features. And Blessing, do you have any
Amazing.
questions? Like I think a lot about your builder community that you are onboarding. So what questions do you have that would be helpful to answer?
Amazing. I think he has covered like everything. I think the tutorial was very extensive, and I really appreciated Limon. I actually learned a lot from the session. So I'll also be able to pass on that knowledge to some of the builders in our community.
Amazing. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I hope it's not too noisy in my background. I'm still in Prague, at least Prague. And yeah, I think that says it was amazing, awesome. And yeah, just like to make sure you follow Limone on Farcaster to ask all the questions, and also play Pavel. And I think it's amazing for people to get started. Travel and the rewards app, I think it's super helpful. We also have a whole like make sure to like I will post more getting started steps in Farcast. I think for you it would be important to like follow the Celo channel and like if they use the Celo starter pack to just like follow the important builders. And then I think my last thing is 1 second. Just like wishing everybody happy hacking. Most important rule is always don't get stuck. Ask questions. If you're stuck for more than 4 hours, it's nothing that you can solve, and somebody else will be able to help you to solve this in 5 minutes. So don't try to even solve that for that long. Make sure to apply. Just make sure you are in the Telegram group. So like, join, take a screenshot, scan the QR code, and also if you want any updates on Celo, you can follow me here in this QR code. I think my last question is, Limone, do you have anything else that you would like to share or blessing? Otherwise, I think this was an amazing session. Again, definitely rewatch it. I think this is the best getting started tutorial on building mini apps on Farcaster that you can find. So
thank you again for setting this up.
Thank you so much for your
Amazing.
time.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm very excited to see what they built. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.